Before we begin, I need you to hear this. It's a recording leaked by someone who claims they reach the highest levels of Scientology. Their identity is unknown. Their current whereabouts, also unknown.
If you're hearing this, it means I've already left, or they've found me. I believed everything until I reached the level they don't talk about. They said Earth is a prison, that our minds are haunted, that what happened 75 million years ago still lives inside us. This is just the beginning, because behind Scientology's polished exterior lies a system built on fear, fiction, and silence. And today, we break that silence.
Welcome to Mystery Shack, where we explore the dark, the twisted, and the hidden truths of the world. Buckle up, because the world of Scientology is even stranger and darker than you could ever imagine. In the 1950s, a man named L. Ron Hubbard, an ambitious science fiction writer, created what would become one of the world's most notorious religious movements. Hubbard wasn't just any writer. He was a master of manipulating ideas and weaving elaborate, mind-bending concepts. In 1954, he officially founded the Church of Scientology, after publishing his book Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health. But what was this science of the mind really about? It wasn't just self-help. It was about something far deeper. Thetans. Scientology teaches that humans are not simply flesh and blood. We are immortal spiritual beings who have lived countless past lives and even traveled to other planets. But let's take it a step further. Scientologists believe that the Thetans have forgotten their true power because they've accumulated harmful memories called engrams from past traumas. These engrams are said to hold us back, trapping us in cycles of suffering and reincarnation. To break free, one must undergo a process called auditing, a form of spiritual counseling, to eliminate these engrams and become a clear. But as you'll see, this process gets a lot weirder when we talk about the OT levels, the secret teachings that the public rarely gets access to. Now, let's talk about how exactly auditing process happens, the Scientology's core practice. On the surface, it looks like a form of therapy, but dig deeper and you'll see something far more invasive and far more controlling. Auditing is marketed as a spiritual counseling session, where a trained Scientology auditor guides a member through traumatic memories from their past, even their past lives. The goal? To identify and eliminate engrams, what Scientology calls the subconscious scars that block spiritual progress. But here's the catch. You don't do this alone. You're hooked up to a device called the E-meter. The E-meter looks like a cheap polygraph machine, a metal box with 2 tin cans attached by wires. You hold one can in each hand while the auditor asks probing, deeply personal questions. And I mean deep. Topics range from childhood trauma to sexual thoughts, fears, even crimes. As you answer, the E-meter measures electrical resistance in your skin. Scientologists believe these readings reflect changes in your Thetans' mental state, revealing hidden trauma. But the E-meter doesn't detect truth. It doesn't read thoughts. It simply measures galvanic skin response, the same principle used in lie detectors. Still, auditors take the readings seriously, recording everything you say in a permanent case file. Let that sink in. Everything you confess during auditing is documented and archived. And since Scientologists believe your spiritual progress depends on these sessions, members often reveal things they would never tell anyone else. This gives the church incredible power. Many ex-members claim their deepest secrets, gathered during auditing, were later used to manipulate or intimidate them into silence. In some cases, even celebrities reportedly fear leaving the church because of what they disclosed during auditing. And yet, thousands of people go through this ritual, holding those tin cans, convinced they're cleansing their soul, while the church listens in silence, recording everything. Now, let's get into the alien part of the equation. This is where things get downright strange. If you've ever heard of Xenu, you might think it's just some science fiction story. But no, according to the secret teachings of Scientology, Xenu is a real figure in their belief system. Scientologists believe that Xenu, a galactic overlord, was responsible for a mass genocide millions of years ago, right here on Earth. But don't be fooled. This isn't just a simple story. It's one of the darkest, most bizarre aspects of Scientology's core beliefs. According to the church, Xenu ruled over a vast intergalactic empire consisting of trillions of alien beings. However, Xenu's empire was failing, and to resolve the issue, he devised a horrific plan. He allegedly gathered billions of aliens from across the galaxy and transported them to Earth, then known as Tigiak, using spacecraft resembling DC-8 airplanes. Once on Earth, these aliens were placed around volcanoes. Here's where it gets brutal. Xenu detonated hydrogen bombs inside these volcanoes, wiping out these alien souls in the process. But this isn't the end. These alien souls, called body Thetans, didn't just vanish. Instead, they became trapped in the bodies of living humans, and they are believed to be responsible for many of our current fears, traumas, and problems. In order to clear them, Scientologists undergo a long, expensive journey through the operating Thetan, OT, levels, where they allegedly exorcise these alien souls and rise to higher spiritual states. Sounds insane, right? Well, it only gets more bizarre from here. Scientology is not just a belief system, it's an empire of control. What Hubbard created was more than just a religion. It's an organization that controls its followers, exploits their wealth, and isolates them from the outside world. The journey to becoming a clear is long and costly. The auditing process can cost tens of thousands of dollars, and this doesn't even include the fees for higher-level teachings, which can easily climb into the hundreds of thousands. Scientologists are encouraged to donate, buy books, and pay for courses to advance spiritually. But there's a catch. The higher you go in the church, the more secrets you unlock, and the more you're asked to sacrifice. The Church of Scientology has been accused of using coercion, brainwashing, and abuse to maintain control over its followers. There are countless reports of members being forced into labor, kept under constant surveillance, and separated from their families and friends. One of the most notorious aspects of the church is the Sea Org, a paramilitary group that demands extreme loyalty. Members of the Sea Org sign a billion-year contract, pledging their lives to the church, and are subject to strict discipline, living in isolated compounds and enduring grueling work hours. This controlling and often abusive structure has led to numerous legal battles and accusations of human rights violations. But despite this, the Church of Scientology has managed to maintain its power, largely due to its aggressive tactics and its ties to influential figures, most notably Tom Cruise. And that is just the beginning. The alien genocide, Thetans trapped inside us, the volcanoes, all of it just the foundation. Because what comes next is how those beliefs became weapons, how minds were controlled, how families were broken, and how Hollywood's biggest names were pulled into the church's orbit, sometimes willingly, sometimes not. In Part 2, we'll explore the empire behind the beliefs, the manipulation, the surveillance, the celebrities, and the terrifying truth about what happens when you try to leave. So don't look away. Watch Part 2. The story only gets darker from here.